RootsOfTheSwampThing.com, your definitive online source for all things Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing is heating up. A brand new series coming from Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. A brand new TV series on DC's streaming service online. RootsOfTheSwampThing.com. A lot of stuff about his history, what he's doing today, and everything in between. Go to RootsOfTheSwampThing.com for more information. Welcome to Wednesday Comics.
Brought to you by RootsOfTheSwampThing.com and SuperCon 2018 Return to the Con.
Hey everyone, keep turning those pages.
Welcome to Wednesday Comics. To my right, we have Hawkeye himself. Alex, how you doing?
Hello everybody.
And across from me, we have Black Widow himself. Garrett, how you doing?
I'm
That's
sexy.
Cool.
And I am your Captain America. My name is Marv. We're three remaining people of Avengers.
I think we're reaching on those nicknames.
Trailers
this week.
should. Why? What are you talking about?
Huh? You're Captain America. I'm Black Widow. And this guy is, who are you?
Hawkeye?
Hawkeye?
Those are three survivors of the snap.
You know, I heard that
trailer
speaking
should
of,
be
did you
coming
hear
out.
they declared what that's actually called?
What?
It was done in a Marvel novel, prose novel. It's called The Decimation.
What, the snap?
The Snap. So
I believe
Marvel
he says that in Infinity War, yeah.
I don't remember him saying
Like the
that.
decimation of something, he calls it.
Yeah, like Marvel Studios officially announced that's called The Decimation.
Well, that's dumb. I just call it snap.
Well, I know.
Well, the
But
snap
it's got
is-
an official
and,
name.
I mean, they even call it the snap in the movie. So
Yeah.
The snap of his fingers.
should have.
We are Wednesday Comics
Decimation.
Podcast. We review comic books and talk about comic book
Kamehameha.
related things. This week is the week of December 5th, 2018. That's the day these books came out, but we're reviewing them, and you'll be hearing these smooth tones on a Sunday. To my right, like I said, Alex Estrella.
Smooth
Me and him
tones.
have been in the studio a couple times this month, but across from me, a man that has not been set in this room since October.
That's not true. Like the first week of November, I was in here.
Nobody remember, though.
Wow.
I don't even remember it.
Well, yeah, because your short-term memory is you've read the whole
Hey,
Descender series.
can I tell you something so you can get angry at me for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first week of November, that when you did come in, we shot the gauntlet. The other day when you sent me the gauntlet and I edited it together and uploaded it when we didn't get together, I noticed that I actually never published that one to YouTube. I edited it, put it on YouTube, and I never clicked to put it on YouTube.
Also, where did it post to?
Nowhere. These people have been thinking we haven't done a gauntlet for a month.
Oh.
Well, we'll just tell them that we got snapped
So
away.
I could still publish it. It's up there. It just hasn't been really published as public. So it's ready to go.
We might as well just leave it off.
So, I mean,
yeah.
if somebody wants some vintage gauntlet from the first week of November, we got it ready.
How would you just put that as Gauntlet, the hidden episode?
It's up there. I have to watch it again. I don't even know if it's
Valid anymore.
what
Good.
do we talk about.
Yeah, and speaking of that, like I said in the forecast this week, and I've said in the Gauntlet this week, you'll hear it, is yes, there was a delay in the Gauntlet a lot this month. A lot of things out of our control happened. Some things in our control happened. But we're hoping
Don't
to
make
get the
excuses.
Gauntlet back to
This
being
show was on on time every
the
week.
Gauntlet, you
I know.
dummy.
We got a producer of the Gauntlet that didn't pay attention and do his own shows. That's
Oh yeah, because I thought we were all part of the Gauntlet, and then
No, you're
Marvin's like, "This is a Garrett production."
No, because here's what happened when you're like, hey, me and Alex are thinking about doing a show when it first started. And I said, go ahead. It's your thing.
I like how it's your thing, even though it's
Yeah,
a team,
right.
team combo. But he knows
But I'm the producer of this show.
Technologically,
We're all technically involved in this, but I produce this show. Do you don't produce this show? Do you edit this show?
No,
Do you put it up?
no.
That's why I produce this show.
Okay, but how hard is it? I mean, you record the
technically-
Gauntlet.
I like
Technically,
how this is our
edit-
free talk.
Could you put this elephant mug on the? Sorry, I meant giraffe because you're tall. Giraffe mug
He's
on
calling
a
you fat.
on a screen.
Either that or I got a big nose.
You elephant piece of shit.
Why can't you
just
put
said.
them on a screen and just say, "Hey, this is the Gauntlet this week"?
Because even though they're too fat or
What?
too tall and they don't fit.
You mean just me and him?
No, not even you if you don't want to be in it.
We
if I'm
weren't
not
sure if we
here.
were allowed. The producer was out. He was out there killing
Fair
some
enough.
deer.
For the
to
record,
continue my PSA,
I actually
we're going to
couldn't-
be back on a regular schedule.
I would never been able to get us started. Being like, this is the Gauntlet double fisting.
You're not shocker.
Speaking of feedback from listeners, we got an email here.
Dr. Sam.
I like how the first time anyone hears us talk about, getting back in the room, all we're doing is bickering back and forth.
Well, this is a show. It's always been this show.
And I was like, oh, I miss being in the studio.
I
You
gotta,
guys just said
I gotta
that, and
flex
was
that
like,
muscle.
back to
You,
normal.
me and you had a laugh, and then I gotta flex the muscle and make fun of Garrett. That's what happened.
Bust your balls.
Oh,
do it from the safety of this
shit.
microphone.
Time for science. Let's get this out of the way to start with. The definition of a moon. Did we talk about a moon recently?
It's your ass,
Is
Sam.
an astronomical body, a.k.a. a massive piece of solid material. I think I talked about I saw that somebody didn't know. I saw a clip of something where somebody's like, the moon's a planet, and they're like, no, it's a star. We talked about that one time.
Both.
That is a permanent natural satellite of a planet. The indelible wisdom of Ben Kenobi stands true. The Death Star is truly no moon. A planet, on the other hand, is an astronomical body that orbits a star and not another astronomical body that's mass enough to attain a spherical structure due to its own gravity. There's some more about moons, but Sam, we're going to skip out this part. Except I got a fun fact here. Moons can also have moons. The scientists have termed them as moon moons that are technically called.
That's
And
really sciencey.
for people
Moon
so
moons.
smart, they can be such idiots. And I have a question for you guys. If you had to pick one comic storyline that is generally considered to be as bad, has been generally considered as bad to make into a film, what would it be? I think he's saying that it's like unfilmable. You shouldn't do it. It's considered taboo. What great storyline do you hope filmmakers never touch? I think they could do something really interesting with the Clone Saga. Something akin to what they did in the Ultimate line, and where Peter's clone turns out to be a female instead of male. From there, you could tackle some interesting topics, such as relevance in today's cultural zeitgeist, such as gender identity. Unfortunately, all the great stories that I believe are best told through the medium of comic books have already been made and / are being made into, or in the process of being made. I'm still holding out that Why the Last Man will get canceled, and that they'll never touch All-Star Superman. Cheers. Sam the Chemist. Thank you for the information about moons. There was more in there, and I'll share that with the guys there.
What was
but
that related to? I can't remember what we were talking about with Moon.
I just said. Didn't I just say?
No, I think there was a comic involving that.
No, there was a clip that I had just watched before the show. And I asked Alex, I go, you know what I watched? I think it was just me and Alex in the room. That's why. I don't think you were even here.
Oh.
I said I watched a clip where two people were debating what a moon was. And one lady was like, I think it's a planet.
No.
And the guy said, no, it's a star. And no, she said it was a star. He goes, no, it's a planet. And he goes, how's it a star? There's living things on it. And I was like, what the fuck's living on the moon? We had that conversation. But that was like an
Transformers.
offhand thing about the moon. What comic book storyline do you see as unfilmable and they shouldn't touch?
That's a hard thing to give to me.
Oh, I got 100%.
Okay.
Kingdom Come. There's no fucking way you could ever pull it off, and all it would be is cockapoo-poo.
Alex, you gripe about it the whole time. You don't even have an example at the
I
tip
gripe
of your
about
tongue.
a lot of things. Well, here, give me an example that you have.
Well, he mentioned one, All-Star Superman. Yes, you can't do that.
Can't take that one. It's already been given.
Why not?
To
It's
us.
the one I always go to.
I think the one I'd actually say is probably The Killing Joke.
What do you mean? It's already been made into a cartoon.
It's a cartoon, but in a I'm thinking live action movie. I
No,
guess.
he's saying they don't make into another thing.
Make into a different thing.
Yeah,
other
they
than
already
the book
did it.
itself.
I'm going to say Day Tripper. Doesn't work.
Oh, that would not be.
That'd be awesome.
I mean,
Watch the
I'm
same
sure.
kid die over and over again.
I mean, I'm sure they could figure it out visually, but it'd turn out like Cloud Atlas, where you're just like, what?
Come on, boy. Constantly.
Got it.
I send you shit.
Pride of Baghdad.
Pride of Baghdad. It's a story
For
about
me, at least for me personally, I think it'd be hard to watch.
We 3. That also.
I thought about We 3, but then it just made me think of Homeward Bound.
I think We 3 actually they're making into a movie. But
That's
Pride of
Superman,
Baghdad.
too.
That's Brian K. Vaughan. Some lions during the 1992 Desert Storm. Is that correct?
No, I thought it was in the current Afghan war that we were in,
No, it's Pride of Baghdad, which is in Iraq.
which we were in Iraq as well.
Yeah, but you just said
Well,
the
I was
Afghan
wrong.
war. That's Afghanistan. And it came out before the most recent one, I believe.
Well,
When did it come out? Look it up. Look it up.
Shit up.
Sorry, guys, I fell asleep during that.
Brian K.
argument.
Vaughan. Generally, I would consider anything Brian K. Vaughan does to be a little bit unfilmable. During Why the Last Man, but also Ex Machina Saga. Saga is basically unfilmable. Mostly because...
NC-17.
Mostly, yeah, because it's fucked up. I mean, it's very out there in terms of content, but also in terms of like just I don't know if anybody would do it the same way they've done it. They probably could figure out a way, but they would cut a lot of what makes that special, especially if you know Staples art. So it is filmable, but it would not be the same thing.
I think Y is definitely more filmable, just because like it's literally it could sort of happen. You know what I mean? Like there's no the only fantasy element is there's
2006
a
is when it
plague
came
that
out.
wipes away all the males. So
And what does it say? Which war?
Well, I didn't look to see what war. I just
Well, isn't that what we're talking about?
man, he's
This
super
man-
hostile tonight.
yeah, so he's kind of a dick.
Trying to
Tater.
cut your balls off.
The difference is, though, Alex laughs about it. You don't laugh about
Can't
it.
even look me in the eyes when you say that.
Because I called you a dictator at first. Baghdad Zoo American bombing in 2003. So that was right.
It's very possible.
I was
It
the
could be
wrong
1992.
country. I was the
You
wrong
might be on the
country.
wrong website. You don't know.
Oh, I'm
I think you need to let this argument die because it's boring.
Pride of
Boring.
Baghdad.
Bambi killer.
Bambi's dad.
You know, also what I would consider a storyline that
Did you only have buck takes?
No.
So you could have killed Bambi's mom
Why would I waste a shot on that?
because you had the tag for it. Dickbag.
something that I would consider unfilmable, just because it is also so weird. Is oh shit, what was it? Well, never mind. It's been a while since we
You having
flexed
hot
this muscle.
flashes?
It is pretty fucking hot in here, though.
I'm actually pretty comfy right now. My eye
Oh
hurts.
yeah, because the fan's pointing at you.
Well, I'm the hottest one here.
Well, Saga. I guess I said Saga. I don't know. I was gonna. There's one I had in my mind that I was like really weird. And I like anything by Grant Morrison. Like you put that on film,
Well-
and it's not going to be the same thing.
Hey,
actually, Happy was pretty good.
Is Annihilation, that movie that came out, is that based off the book
What?
by Morrison?
By Marvel Knights? The Marvel Knights animated?
No. It was
No, it's.
the
Oh,
movie
no.
with Portland. Natalie
No.
Portland.
Oh no, that's based on a book.
Okay.
It's not called Annihilation, is it?
I think
it
Grant
is.
Morrison did Annihilation like 4 issues.
Oh, I read the issues and I watched that movie and they're not the same thing.
Okay.
Well,
Clearly,
those-
Civil War should not have been filmed.
There's one though that should never be made.
well, see, that's what I'm talking about. The same thing with Saga. Like they did adopt that name and try to do the similar concept, but it's not that story. Like they have to change it so much. It's like why just you should have done your own thing, but just for the name, like they were never going to have at that time in Marvel Studios timeline. They were never going to have that many characters to fully do that story. They don't have rights to certain characters there, and so they had to make it different. And so the Civil War turned out to be, you know, like 8 people fighting instead of 2 literal sides that are like armies of people fighting. So even though they didn't make it, it turned out to be not the same thing. So there are some of this stuff, some of these things we're mentioning, like Saga, I could see them doing, like saying, hey, that's popular, we should do that. But it would not be that book. It would be something else. Should we get into some reviews? And by the way, this week, if you saw the title of the podcast, Best New Series of 2018, and as a little tie-in this week, me and Alex noticed, and Garrett, were you on the forecast? Yeah, you were.
Not this week.
Oh, you weren't. That's right.
Yeah.
Me and Alex noticed that so many number ones came out this week. So many. At least 15.
A lot.
They want to catch you right before. This is the bullshit that wasn't work with our little thing because they all start in 2018. None of these books can be in that list next year. But we thought we'd tie in and review all number 1 books this week, which there was enough to go around, enough that we were interested in. And the first one that I do, we didn't actually.
Nope, we never divided what we're doing. So.
We just start, baby. We want to start with Die number 1. This is Karen Gillan. And here it is. Stephanie Hans on art, Clayton Cowles, the letterer, designer Ryan Hughes, editor Chrissy Williams. We usually don't go that in deep, but Die number 1, new series, image number 1. This is Karen Gillan, as I said, on the gauntlet of Young Avengers fame, Wicked and Divine, and also Journey into Mystery, the when it was Loki's book. What did you guys think? So number 1s are in. Let's just as a caveat for number 1s before we get into it. Number 1s, the best thing a number 1 can do, if you guys agree with me, is have potential, have enough to let you know what's going on, but also keep you interested and not tell you the whole thing. And 3, be fresh and something that you've never seen before. Did Die number 1 do that for you?
Hell yeah, it did. Number 3, like what you just listed about something fresh that I've never seen before, that for sure it hit the mark. Got a lot of character development in this first issue. I think the first issue is also a little oversized, which was nice. Because, we get the story right out the get-go of them as kids, and kind of learn about them a little bit. And then kind of like they kind of come back as adults. And there's
38 pages it was.
Yeah.
Without ads. So for you guys, it must have been like 42 or something like that.
I don't know.
I don't know how many ads they had.
I
have ads?
don't remember.
Oh, no,
seeing
there's
ads in
ads,
it.
yeah. Maybe at the end.
So,
But yeah, I mean, I think the art was great. Story was captivating, and like, I kind of have a on and off again relationship with like Kieran Gillen. Like, I think he's a great writer, but I think sometimes he just kind of reaches a little too far. But with this story, I got it sucked in really good. It was really great storytelling, world building, and like the cliffhanger got me excited. Like it's that typical cliffhanger where you're reading and you're like, no, like I want to read more. Like that's what I was feeling at the end of that issue.
I got this issue only for the sole fact that we could talk about this book, and then to find out that this book wasn't, die. It was just die. I thought, oh, all right. That seems kind of anticlimactic. And to find out all it is about rolling die for playing games, I thought, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. Then you get into this whole big something happened. And so I'll be getting this book. Long story short, I actually really enjoyed this. This was a bigger surprise than I had anticipated for a number one, and I am a sucker for a number one. Because if you can do all those things, you can keep me interested, you can captivate me, you can give me a reason to get issue 2. That's all I needed. And I got a little worried. That it was going to be a little too wordy for me. There's a different book that was a little too wordy for me. This was not. This actually felt like it was doing its job. That art was spectacular, and I'm excited to get into issue 2.
I really enjoyed it. The art was great, I thought, and what Garrett was saying before, the way it tells the story by jumping around in time, I feel is great because you have them jumping into the game, and you're like, what's going to happen? And then instead of telling a story from A to B, and we like get into that world and introduce as they do, we basically jump to the end after they experienced it and realized they didn't go to a good place and they didn't have a good time there. And it's more... and then throughout the story, they reveal a little bit about what happened. And then at the end, when you see their DM come back and he's the Grandmaster, and you're thinking like, what happened there? And how did he now all of a sudden he's the person who wants to have them play this game? As Kieran Gillen described it, I believe he said it was like Jumanji meets, I forgot what he said. Jumanji meets some sort of horror thing.
Yeah.
Saw. That's what you want to play a game.
But so it was really refreshing. The art was great, and there's enough here for me. Like, it's not super oversized, but it's oversized enough for me to be like, yeah, I think I'm interested in this story, and as long as it can keep up this type of pace, this is a book I'll get.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Once again, like this could drop off very quickly if they get too busy telling me about the world, but the way the pace was here, where it was little enough to keep me interested, that's the kind of pace I want to see for this story. But there was enough that happened in this issue that I didn't feel like I got ripped off. I feel like I was like, okay, that's a good size book.
This seems like a nice gem. I would say similar to like Black Badge, where it's just like a concept that you're like, how has there never been a story written about this?
Yeah, but then when you get into that Black Badge realm, you get brought into it, and then you're waiting a year and a half before the next issue comes out. So who knows? Maybe we don't want to get into Black Badge. Oh, I'm thinking Black Monday Murders.
Oh, yeah, no. Black Badge with the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
This was going to be probably my pick of the week until another book came along. So I'm going to give this a
It's
solid
the next
9.
book that I'm saying. Then you're wrong.
Solid 9.
I'm giving it a
This is
10.
This is a
I think it did everything I needed out of an issue 1. And I'm very excited for the rest of the series. And you're right, it could, usually if there's a lot of amping.
I was say,
in the
but then you're
beginning,
number 1. It's
Yeah.
you roll the dice.
Die.
Excuse me. You roll the dice and you figure
You
out.
still said it wrong after we get correct.
Well, I'm saying roll 2 of them. Roll the dice and you got to figure
I
out.
think it's still die.
It's killing me.
No, 2 are dice. 1's die. They all had 1 die. So get together, Alex.
Yeah, if you have more than one, it's dice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they roll the dice and
Learn something new.
you got to figure out whether or not you're going to take a risk on this series, like you said, Black Monday Murders, and then that's the only thing about these kind of image books. Like, I hope this keeps coming out. Karen's pretty good about keeping the book. Wicked Device comes out on time. All his other books ever came out on time. I didn't have to wait for them. So that actually is pretty reassuring to me. And also, all those books, at least the ones I read, didn't drop off in quality. So I am more interested in staying with this book because I feel like I have trust there with him. But, I mean, those are all concerns about number one. It's like, oh, what am I getting myself into? I hope it stays as good as this issue. Alex, what did you give it?
I give it a 9. This was a very strong issue for a book that I actually wasn't excited to get. Was pleasantly surprised. Wasn't perfect for me. There's still nothing necessarily wrong with it, but there was that, not even the time jumps, but who was the main character, Ash or Dominic?
Dominic.
I understand
Ash
that
was the sister. Dominic was the boy.
I thought her name was Angela.
Angela.
Angela was the
Sister.
other girl.
No,
No, because they kept calling him Ash, and he kept calling no Dominic.
Mm-mm.
Uh-huh.
I'll look it up right now. I just
Look
read
that shit
I just
up.
read it right before we started.
Angela's
I read
the
it. That's
blonde
why I was late
sister.
to get in here. It was Angela was the sister. Isabel was the other girl. Solomon was the friend who disappeared. Some other dude was a different guy. They called him Ash, and he kept correcting him to be Dominic.
So what did you give it?
I give it a 9.
I gave it 10.
You gave it a 9.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next one while he looks up the facts we just gave.
So I read a number 1 this week that did not make me want to get
Uh-oh.
a second of this issue. We got Namor, number 1, written by
Oh, there
Chip
isn't one, so-
Zdarsky. Huh?
There isn't another one.
Another one, what?
Of
Namor?
Namor.
It's one
That-
shot.
That's why there's only one shot, because it was so horrible.
Thank God it's only one.
Chip Zdarsky and Carlos Magno on art. Ron Garney did the cover. That cover was great.
Yeah, if that art was on the inside of the book, might be a different story.
Yeah. Well, Ron Garney, I think, did all the coverage for the Best Defense.
Okay.
And it does say part 2, and I read it after I read Hulk today. For the record, Hulk was spectacular. I really enjoyed it. Namor was just...
Garbage.
I wanted to, like, so Garrett and Marvin talking back and forth, and Garrett's like, I really, 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 really hated this issue. It was too wordy. The art wasn't, I didn't mind the art. The art was okay.
The art was good.
Did you look at the faces?
But well,
What are you talking about? It's not a defined style. It's a little scratchy, but
Little scratch.
it's very line driven instead of being
Thank
driven
God for
by
the colorists, otherwise that would have no definition.
but my only problem
mean,
with the art,
good art
was,
doesn't mean
I
there's good
couldn't see it.
definition.
I couldn't see the art.
It's not good art.
No, I mean art can be whatever. If it's going for a purpose, and the purpose of that one, that's the style that he's doing, then it's fine.
Yeah, I think even the big reveal of Namor in this book was crap. He's doing this thing with his wrist, then he's just he looks like he's floating a million miles away. Oh, badass Namor! That was the worst reveal I've ever seen. On a page turn. You just see Namor go enough when his council's talking in the beginning.
Oh, I see.
Namor's enough, and then it turns and he's just bow down before me, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And plus it's not usually you zoom in on that character, you don't zoom out fucking far away and be oh shoot, he's super domineering. But yeah, it was way, way, way too wordy.
You hated it more than I hated it. You literally would.
Oh,
burn this
I
book,
was
sorry.
so bored. I stopped reading it 3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I would just go walk away and come back.
I'll admit I had to force my way through this book, but my problem was the art was fine, but it got covered up by all the word bubbles. There was a lot of words, and normally I don't think Chip is that wordy of a dude.
No, he usually had
No, but the
Spider-Man,
thing
these
is
things.
that's how Namor is.
He talks too much.
Yeah.
But there was too much narration.
Was there a narration?
Oh yeah,
I can taste the blood in my mouth.
yeah.
No, it wasn't.
And he wasn't acting
Well, I didn't mind the word bubbles because I can read, so it was
he wasn't
fine for
acting
me.
like
I can't
a king.
read, so actually, I did. I literally have one gripe in this book: way too many animals in the sea. There are not that many animals hanging out just willy nilly everywhere, and
What are you talking
he
about?
can't talk to the
It's
sea
got a
life.
kingdom, though.
Yeah, but it's every third panel was a humpback whale just hanging out.
Well, he's got them as his pets.
Well, what was the purpose
Hanging
of
out.
this issue? I thought this was to do something about defining who he is as a character for the Defenders. It did not accomplish. that.
No. He's going to be... So he talks about the end that he's going to fight the surface dwellers. And so he's going to go up there. And so it's just a way to... There's obviously going to be some sort of catalyst to...
The cliffhanger is
cliff
him on the
conflict.
on the Silver Surfer board.
What? No, that's his next issue.
What? What do you mean? His name? That was the
That was
cliffhanger.
Namor was on the surfboard. Did you read the books we read?
I did read it, and actually,
That's the last page.
this was my pick of the week. No, it wasn't.
Oh God! I'd be
holy
like,
shit.
Don't
I
trust
think-
anything you say.
You know,
ever
this
again.
movie's. I mean, this book isn't. It isn't great. It's like a 7 for me. But the way you guys are talking about it makes me think that, like, I don't understand like the hate for it. It wasn't good. It wasn't. Like,
I've read
amazing. It was
Namor.
okay.
I've read
Wasn't
Namor and
good.
Avengers.
I saw your words. Like, it wasn't good.
This Namor was. This is not Namor. I've read Namor. This is nothing.
What
like
Namor
it.
have you read?
I've read him in Avengers. I've read some of his Silver Age stuff. This is not. I mean, even in Secret, not Secret Avengers, but the Jonathan Hickman runs, like Namor is not that much of a little bitch.
What are you talking about?
The whole issue, he's whining.
He wasn't whining. He was being an
Oh.
asshole. He's always been an asshole.
No, but he was doing it from a point of defense. Like he was not doing.
Are you
it
sure
as-
you read Avengers? Because that's exactly how he is in Avengers.
I say the
No.
weird thing is,
Avengers. I remember him being domineering and being like, "This is my ground." Like he fights with Black Panther, and he's like, "No, we're not going to give in or do what you want to do." And in this, he's just like, "I'm going to fight you because I'm a king too."
your
I mean, that's how you interpret it, but
my.
That's not
what
how he
else?
was.
What was it then?
I felt like he was strong in this issue. I don't know.
Oh, see, my thing is, I haven't read a lot of Namor. I read this just as a character. I didn't
feel
for-
he was any different than I've read him before in this issue.
He seemed like an asshat, and I realized that's what Namor is. He thinks he's
But they're writing
holier
old
than
school.
thou. But I didn't care for. For me, it's just the wording.
It definitely did feel like, and that's why it's like a 7. It definitely did feel like he had. There's one point to tell his book, and it lasted over like 30, not even 30. It's probably 23 pages. So I definitely felt like it could have been shorter, or it just could have been a part of an issue. And I think that's where a lot of that wordiness comes from, just killing time. But I didn't feel like any of the characters were off, or the art was that bad. So
There's Ocean Master in this one, right?
yeah, Aquaman.
Yeah, that's what this felt like to me. It felt like Aquaman.
Well, they're the same fucking character.
I get that, but I mean, they had like literally the same fucking character.
Yeah.
But there's not
He's
even
born
like
of two worlds. Yeah, it's the same character.
because even it's not even like flipped around. Isn't his dad the human both for Submariner and Aquaman?
Yeah, they're literally the same character.
Holy shit! It blew my mind. I thought, no, I like Aquaman more
Only
than
one
you.
guy is a hero and one guy's an asshole, and he's usually the bad guy. So that's what I mean.
And maybe that's maybe part of it for me is that I like books about bad guys, but when I go into this book, going, Namor's a good dude. No, he's a dick
No,
bag.
he fucking tried to kill Black Panther. He's not a good dude.
Not in this
He
book.
killed their whole fucking. He destroyed Wakanda.
If it was this book, Black Panther would wipe the floor with him.
I know.
He sent a tidal wave to Wakanda and wiped it out. That's
We
not
know
a good
you know
guy.
who they should have sent. They probably should have sent Killmonger to go kill
Yeah,
Namor.
I'd rather
Jeez.
Killmonger be on the Defenders than this.
Holy shit!
I give this book a 3. Wish I didn't spend money on it.
Oh, ouch! I was gonna give it a 5.
7.
It had fine things, but the art wasn't the worst thing. Yes, the humpback whale didn't need to be in every panel. It really does bug me. And
You're saying there's no more humpbacks left? because
no, I'm
of
saying there's
pollution.
plenty of humpback whales. I'm just stating that
How do you know how many humpbacks are in one area if you don't live in the ocean?
my assumption is this humpback whale would have to be a male humpback whale, not during the mating season. Because if there was a mating season, then more than one male humpback would be chasing the female. And obviously on its
It
own.
was mating season.
Who was he going to hump?
Well,
Submariner?
Namor was angry for a reason, so he wasn't getting any.
Doesn't seem like he ever would.
That's the difference between Aquaman and Namor. I'm not going to get into it, but you don't
Hey,
honestly.
why does Namor have wings on his feet?
Well, you know, ever seen what he can do with those wings? Yeah, it
He's
was
all the
alright.
help he can get.
It wasn't horrible. I read definitely worse shit than that.
I don't know. That was pretty bad.
I read it. Well, maybe I was also set up by this guy telling me how horrible it was, and I was like, that's not that bad.
I'll admit, you told me it was horrible, and I went into it going, can't be as bad as you said.
I thought it was going to be unreadable. It wasn't unreadable. It just wasn't.
I don't know. It took me
Interesting.
like 30 minutes to read because
It just wasn't super interesting. Like, it also felt like.
What was it? It just felt like a waste.
Well, I
what was
agree
the
with that.
purpose?
It also felt like it was
filler.
like one point of this to get Namor to go above water and get him angry about wanting to attack the surface dwellers, and I feel like that might be in the final Defenders issue that comes out. That might be like what happens, but I don't know.
Can Namor fly?
He's got wings.
Do you have a Red Bull? I made me wonder because all of a sudden he's taking that Vlon dude up, and I didn't even realize they left the water when he goes, I can't feel the air. And I thought, how high are you flying?
Yeah, he was in space.
Then he's find out he's in fucking space. I was like, what
I
the
used the water though.
he fly there?
I know, but he got the momentum from the water to get into space.
That's a lot of momentum.
Yeah,
A lot
holy
of-
shit!
He's a superhero and he has
I'm
wings on
pretty
his feet.
sure he has some sort of limited flying ability. The space thing that surprised me too.
I thought, holy shit, that how many miles? Hey,
You think he was by the
Sam,
moon?
how many
Yeah.
miles is from the ocean to space?
Sam
Were you-
can
Also
were you-
convenient that as soon as he gets to space, whoa, oh, I landed on the Silver Surfer's board.
I assume the
What?
Silver Surfer showed up going, oh shit, maybe I should
We don't
save
even
that.
see the Silver Surfer.
Well, he must have sent his, his skateboard.
Yeah, he got knocked off the board.
His surfboard.
Namor surfs. He knows what's up.
Yeah, Namor just
Hang
Namor's
tight,
so
buddy.
awesome.
Hang in
He
tight,
goes
bro.
into space but lands on Silver Surfer.
I just can't believe you have such hate for ocean dwellers,
I don't have hate.
and
for-
that's
I
why
like
he hates you
Aquaman.
as a surface dweller. That's why he hates you.
He's in
To
space.
be fair, I never see Aquaman hanging out in the water very often.
To be fair, also, yeah, Namor now is in space, so he's technically not an ocean dweller. Now he's an outer spacer dweller.
That is an alien.
What kind of you think if he starts orbiting the Earth, what does he become?
A
Sam?
dead satellite.
Satellite, a winged
A
satellite.
fish satellite.
Is there a humpback up there? Go ahead.
Next, we got Shazam #1, written by Jeff Johns with art by Dale Eaglesham.
Shazam #1. Nice timing today with the announcement or the first poster for the movie. I saw that. Looks pretty good. April 5th, I think it's coming out. So this is Jeff Johns' New 52 did a backup in Justice League for Shazam for fucking ever.
It was 12 issues.
And they were always teasing that it would be his own series, never did. And here we go, Rebirth happens, and now we're at a point now where Jeff Johns went to Hollywood, try to help them out. Didn't work out for him as being like the producer, kind of in charge of creative services. So he's going back to be writing more comics, and he's writing the scripts for the movies, and they're going to just take it from there. Comes back to comics, we have Doomsday Clock that he wrote, Rebirth, doing a lot of that as just being like the creative force behind that. And then here comes Shazam, which is going to be an ongoing, right? Or is it a miniseries?
Ongoing.
So it's his first ongoing coming back. What do you think? I mean, obviously, Shazam's been around for a while, but he hasn't had an ongoing in a long time. I believe. Let me look it up. I think it's been like 20 years. What do you think? Shazam #1, how'd it go?
I really enjoyed it. I think not only was it good for someone that's read Shazam, I think it's good for new readers because the first couple pages is a prologue of what, it's kind of like the origin story of Shazam, but it's very brief so that if you get hung up on seeing origin stories over and over and over again, that you can actually get to the main
Meat of
plot
the
of the
book.
story. Yeah. And what we find out in this book is that Billy shares his power with his family finally, which obviously there's a huge gap between him becoming Shazam and him helping his family become the Thunder League or whatever they're called.
I think you're right. Thunder League.
Yeah, Thunder League.
League of Thunder.
And I thought that was cool. Like, I think it was like a bank robbery first that they stumbled
Museum.
upon. Museum robbery.
They were on a
Yes,
field trip.
It is Shazam's first all new monthly title in the DC universe in almost 20 years. So he's been around, but he hasn't had his own thing for a while. So
I guess maybe the last big event was that Superman, Shazam, Black Adam comic, because that was only like a 3-issue arc. And they made an animated movie out of it and stuff.
What about Kingdom Come? How old is that?
yeah, but I mean monthly ongoing.
Yeah.
Well, I
not
know,
talking
but
movies here.
how often he show? I haven't seen Shazam in a long time. He doesn't even show up that often anymore since New 52.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was around, dipped. Now he's back. Movie coming out. Yeah, I like the inclusion of the Marvel family. That's something that's been around for a little bit. So they're kind of updated and modernized, and they're all part of they're the kids at the orphanage, not orphanage, foster home.
Foster kids.
Billy is the Billy from New 52. He's not a good kid. Instead of being the old Billy that we know, that is a good kid. So that origin stays the same with the New 52. Did I enjoy this issue?
I don't
Did
know.
I enjoy Namor more? No, this was my pick. I love this issue. The art's
Word to me,
fantastic.
everybody.
It's an old kind of style. Dale Eaglesham did some issues that are terrific, and we knew he could do that old kind of style. It definitely feels like an old school book for new fans. Jeff Johns, I read this issue being like, this is the man I've missed.
Such a great writer.
He has, there's comedic moments. The backup story is depressing, but also uplifting. There's he can hit every single tone. And I think that's what I love about Jeff Johns. I've always loved about Jeff Johns. When he's on Green Lantern, it's my favorite thing ever. Is that he can hit those moments that are blockbuster moments, but also hit the moments where I read it and it's kind of like a Jeff Lemire, character. So his characters are always great, so you care about them. And if it's a blockbuster situation, you don't want to see anything happen to him because you are so invested in them because they feel so real. This story definitely felt like the first step towards that in terms of potential. I am very excited for this book. It's so good.
Yeah, I think like Jeff is really good about adding as much content into a series that he's planning. So like those backup stories are going to kind of give us some fill in the gaps about the characters because we have 6 members of the Thunder League, and it's going to be hard to give everyone the spotlight.
To be fair, we might have a 7th one coming up or an 8th one.
Oh, true.
Thunder Bunny.
Why do you keep calling them the Thunder League?
That's what their title. That's what they called themselves.
No, they call themselves a million things throughout the issues. At the end, they call themselves the Shazam family.
I don't know. Does it matter?
No, because Billy's the last one to say. He goes the Thunder League.
No, at the end, they're hanging up the thing. It's the Shazam family. Go, oh yeah, I think it's official now. He says.
Whatever.
I'll show you the
group
Show it to
of Thunder gods. Whatever. The
Captain
family.
Marvels. Nope, that's not right.
But like, I lost my train of thought. I have no idea.
This is one of those books that I had gotten into, and I'm not necessarily a Shazam fan. I haven't seen him enough. This is a week of books for me that it's getting into new territory. Obviously, number ones, but I wasn't sure what to expect. And at first, I was telling the guys before the show that when the Thunder League or the kids show up at the museum heist, I was like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I wanted the sharing of the power. Then it actually became more of it. Actually, once they started doing this thing, I thought, actually that seems more fun, more interesting, more things can happen. But then I was questioning, does Billy lose strength by sharing it, or is that just part of the power that he has the ability to bestow upon other people? Is there a limit to how much power Shazam can have?
Well, he is the
Embodiment of magic and electricity,
yeah,
right?
so I don't think it limits him at all.
Okay.
But I don't think that the family, they can Shazam themselves and turn into superheroes because Billy gave them that power.
I suppose.
But I feel like if you knocked out Billy, they
They're
wouldn't
gone.
have that power. I mean, they're not gone.
No,
just
but I
wouldn't
mean
be
they
able
would
to-
lose.
They wouldn't be
They'd
able
be
to,
back to kids,
right.
Okay, that makes sense. That he has. If
He's more of like a conduit.
if he's already Shazammed, they can Shazam.
He has multiple powers, and I assume they assume one of them.
Okay.
So
I see what you're
Shazam
saying.
is an acronym for
Because there's
all
the
gods
one
he needs
that
powers for.
one of the kids at dinner talks about. I'm the god of electricity or
Yeah.
whatever. Because he's talking
So
to
he
the
has
TV.
power. So Shazam himself has the power of Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and Mercury.
Oh,
so I'm
duh.
assuming that person has Zeus's powers only.
Electricity.
Well, Billy has all of them, and they all share one of those powers.
And Mary would probably have. Was Artemis on there?
No.
Okay.
Mercury,
Oh.
Achilles, Atlas, Hercules, and Solomon. There's one of them that was smart, right? Solomon's smart.
I say, to be fair, I forget that's what the name was. Was all these?
Here we go. Who came up with that? Darla, you like it? Yeah, I guess it's official. And she says, yep, a name. Or she says a name, and the next one they go, yeah, it's a family. It's the Shazam family headquarters.
Oh, I see.
Get out of town, boy.
It didn't matter. Why are you looking at me? I didn't really give a shit. I just was designated the group of Thunder. Like
I'm just saying they've always been called the Shazam family, and that was like the
fine.
thing.
Have they really?
The
Oh, cool.
Shazam
Yeah.
family.
What? We all weren't born in the 1940s. You don't know this shit.
Just 'cause
fun
you were
be-
16
fun
when that
making-
comic came out.
Captain Marvel has been one of the best
Captain Marvel.
That's his name.
popular characters even before DC bought him.
What's wrong?
It was at one point more popular than Superman. So for him finally to come back after this amount of time, and in the movie too coming out, it's a nice way for him to finally come back and be like, yeah, I'm relevant. And like, yeah, you may change me for the new age, but I still work. And that's
Did
what
you
the most
catch
thing out of
that
this issue.
Captain Marvel joke in this
Yeah.
book? That was pretty fun.
I wonder, that made me think, so that part of it, I did like that joke, but also took me out a little bit of the book because
Yeah.
that made me think, are they going to try that joke in the movie?
Oh yeah.
Oh, 100% they are.
But because the reason why I think they don't do it anymore is because they got sued. So if they tried it,
But they might go Captain Marv and then.
I'll turn to Shazam in the theater. You don't know. This was the time for me as my pick of the week.
I would give it a 10. I really enjoyed it. I was looking forward to it. Again, oversized. We got the main story and a backup story. If we keep getting that every issue, super pumped.
I think I give it 10. There's nothing that I didn't enjoy. And once I got past the origin part of it, I really did enjoy it. And when the team showed up, it made it that much better.
All right, there we go. What book do you guys give me?
You're going to do Prodigy.
Prodigy, number 1. This is Mark Miller, Raphael Albuquerque. A new series from Mark Miller. I assume 6 issues as he does. 30 pages this issue. What do you think, Garrett? The story about a man who can see something for like 1 second and learn it. Not 1 second, but like an hour. And you can learn it.
He's literally a prodigy.
Prodigy,
He's just amazing at everything.
Yeah. I don't know. They never said he had powers. It's just the way he's born.
I was thinking Lex Luthor the entire time.
Yeah, he's just driven to be the best of the best. And so at the end, you know what? I will, for Alex's sake, he's right here. Because I do feel like the strongest part of the book is the end.
To be fair, if you guys need to spoil it, I'm even just going to leave my headphones on. It's going to be a month before I read it.
It won't be any different if I spoil it or if I don't spoil it. But they show him as his prodigy. He solves problems the whole issue. And we get to the end and there's a twist, and that's basically what the series is going to be about, him trying to solve this issue. And I did feel that's the strongest part of this book, but was anything before that for you interesting, or was it, did you like the beginning part of the book?
I think it was interesting. I think it was figuring out who the character is. Like, I think my favorite part in the beginning is when, those bullies pick on him, and he literally watches a movie with all these kung fu martial artists, and then the next day he beats the living piss out of all these kids. Sorry, Al. And I thought that was like, you watch one night of movies and I can beat the living shit out of you. Like,
he's in the Matrix.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And I think like, I really wish they didn't flash forward so fast, just because like it would have been cool to see some more things. But
I was happy for that because I actually didn't like that first part of the issue.
Really?
Because it felt like, and I don't know. So Mark Miller, I've liked his recent work, Jupiter's Circle. Huck, I enjoyed actually from
I like the first
standpoint.
2/3 of Huck.
What's the cross? What's the time?
Chrononauts.
Chrononauts. I really enjoyed. What was the last one he did? Magic Order's pretty good.
Reborn. Magic Order.
Reborn. I don't know. Reborn was okay.
You know, the thing that made that Reborn was so good with was Capullo art, but in all honesty,
it was okay.
It was fine.
But I mean, the first part of this book, it just felt. So I didn't like the character at all. I just felt like he's a dick. Even though
he's Papa's ass.
Yeah, but also like he's like, oh, I want to help all these people out, and like that's the thing that drives him. But he doesn't seem like a guy that would help people out. He just wants to show off, which is I think the purpose of him. But that doesn't mean I have to like him.
That's true.
And then the beginning part's just showing him how he can do like cool shit. And I think after that scene, I like that scene, and I like the next scene. But then past that, I think I got it. And then they just kept going over and over again with the stuff that he can learn. And when we got to the end, that part for me was enough to be like, oh, okay, I want to get this book for that end twist. Because I thought this book was just going to be about how good this guy is at everything, and people always showing up and being like, oh, he's better than you. And then we got to the end, and I was like, okay, that could be different because there's something that could come out of that would make this book interesting. If he's the best of the best, what if there's somebody else?
Yeah.
Right? That makes that interesting. So I am interested in that story. And so that's why I was like, I'll stay on this book.
Yeah, it kind of brought up that Holmes Moriarty kind of debacle. Yeah, right.
But if he was just the best of the best, after a while, if you are like so superpowered like that, it gets kind of boring.
Right.
Like I know you're fucking gonna win.
Yeah, you need someone to.
That's what the whole issue felt was like. Yes, I know he's gonna fucking do this. I know he's gonna figure it out. Mm-hmm. The first two were cool because I didn't know, and it was cool to see like how it works. And then by that point, I got it. But then at the end, I was like, okay, but what if he wasn't the only one? And then I was like, okay, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and it was really refreshing to see Albuquerque do
his art was
whole issue. Like
the whole issue looked fantastic, and actually, once again, makes me miss American Vampire so much.
That book's never coming out.
Yeah, I know. R.I.P. It makes me miss this so much, and actually got me thinking about American Vampire. But then I looked at this book. The coloring's amazing. The art's amazing. The shadow work is great. There's the scene that you're talking about. The beginning scene about the bullies and the martial art films he's watching looked fantastic. I actually really love that a lot. The coloring and the shadow work on that. But this was really interesting for me for the beginning. and then the middle kind of dropped a little bit because I was like, hey, let's move on. Like I got it, and then the end was really good. So for me, it was like a solid 8, and I will try the next one. But if it would have just been the beginning, I probably wouldn't get the next issue. It's that ending that I'll get the next issue for.
Yeah, I would give it an 8 also. I think that team works really well together.
Yeah.
But I think Mark Miller likes to hammer in points, and then might be been the part where
Yeah, that was the thing. So
Yeah.
it felt like when we were talking about Namor earlier, where it felt like it was stretched out. That felt like it was stretched out because if this turned out to be 6 issues, it felt like he wanted to stretch out to get that as a cliffhanger, that end part, because he didn't want to reveal too much in the first issue. So at the beginning of us reviewing, I said, "Is there enough in that first issue to keep you going?" And he barely made it in.
yeah,
Like if there would have been a little bit more, I think it would have been a better issue. But there was enough at the end there. I was like, okay, I'll try it out. But then also, like, I got a little redundant. I was like, I understand. He's the best of the best. He's fucking Prodigy.
right,
Let's move on to something that, what's the story here?
yeah.
I just felt they stayed too long on him being the best of the best.
And that's cool. It's going to be a mystery book. Like, you think it's just, again, going to be about some intelligent genius, but now it's going to be an intelligent genius solving a mystery and going up against another genius.
I am curious to see if it is a mini or not. If it's a mini,
It's one
I'm
of 6.
fully in. It is.
It's 6.
Then I'm in. If it would have been ongoing, I would have been like, I don't know how long he's going to stretch this out because the first issue felt stretched out. But I do feel like maybe he had 5 issues, and the first issue's like, I can make that scene a little longer. That's what it felt like.
Oh, because it's going to be another Netflix show. Everything Mark
it
Miller
definitely
produces
is.
now is all
Well,
shows.
I mean, that line is owned by Netflix, so why wouldn't they? That's basically why he has a job.
What
over there.
line? Just
Miller World. They
Oh,
bought
I
out
see.
Miller World.
Okay.
So any book that he makes
It's
is
viable to
Netflix's books. So why wouldn't they?
Was it
make
on the back of the cover?
Yeah.
Netflix.
it was on the inside.
No, but
back
he
cover.
works with them. He's like a creative guy over there for them too. So
Well, they bought Miller World, so
Well, and I
bought-
get that, but I thought.
So I think they have first dibs in the rights. Like they still pay him if they want to make it, but they definitely hired him to pump out content that they could possibly make it to shows.
So I don't know if you guys are all on, if you are part of that bandwagon. But after I saw Black Panther, I already had one of my new favorite villains of all time, Eric Killmonger. So we got a book that came out this week, Killmonger #1. Was it oversized? I know it was $4.99.
I think it was a little bit.
Okay,
There wasn't any ads until
Oh.
the end.
it was. You know what? This may have been my at least pick of the week of the 6 books we had here.
Mhm. Now that I know that in Jadaka is Killmonger, because I never knew his name, but I don't know. I really like this. Like that Juan Ferreira art is so good. He was on Green Arrow for the longest time. Brian Hill's, I think, one of our 3 favorite writers. Maybe not his most recent stuff.
And Hill is one of those writers that is either super good, or super well written, or kind of misses the point. This is a book this is before Eric goes to Wakanda, challenges T'Challa, wins, and I don't know if this is canon for MCU, the movie universe, or if it's going to be just does
Marvel Universe.
Killmonger ever actually take over as king for a while? I'm sure he does. Anyway, so at least in this story,
Well, this is between when he leaves Wakanda and comes back to face Black Panther. They say it right there on the prologue.
this is
page.
this is him young
Yeah.
before he goes to Wakanda.
Right.
Yeah, so this is him being on the street. I don't know, you snapped at me. Literally trying to see if I disappear. Won't
He
happen.
decimated you.
You already said it. I'm Hawkeye. Wasn't even in the first movie. You guys didn't even know I was there. So sneaky. So actually then we get this Claw killed his dad. Oh, you didn't get Killmonger, did you, Marvin? No. Okay.
I didn't. That's why
I
I
explain
shut my
why
mic
you're
off.
more quiet in this. I thought, man, you're awfully quiet. Normally I don't get to talk this long.
I did look at a preview though, and the art looks good. So
You weren't interested?
well, there's just too many fucking books.
Oh, yeah.
See. Did you get Winter Soldier? Sorry.
yeah.
On a side note, okay.
But the way that you guys talked about, especially you talked about in the Gauntlet and the art and Brian Hill, I do like Brian Hill. So it was something that afterwards I was like, I should probably check out. But I didn't
next week,
read
if
it
you got a
today.
smaller week, you can always get it. Fucker.
Wow. Like, yeah. So the
and-
story, this is pre him being in the military, too.
Yes, he loses his father, gets kind of foster adopted, and is now for the most part, living on the street, living on his own, doing his own thing, looking to,
better his life.
seeing the
And
cruelties
still
of life.
being obsessed with finding Wakanda, getting back there because he
And
knows
killing
where.
Claw.
Yeah, he knows that where he came from. So much so that at the end of this issue, he goes to MIT, and the teacher lady, the headmaster's like, "Hey, we're gonna." We want you to stay at MIT. We want you to just keep going in the future. And he's like, this is not my future. My future is not MIT. Thank you. And they have a little session.
Okay, to me, that was weird.
I don't know, dude.
When
I could
she's
feel
like,
it. I could feel the
I've
tension.
known you for 4 years. And he's like, I've known you for 4 years. We're going to do this. And she's like, oh, okay. I mean, it wasn't like
I'm
that.
like, no.
She wanted it. She wanted to do this. But I was also like, really?
Dude, Killmonger turned her on. Whatever.
By the way, his body was not proportionate. His upper body is huge, and he's got these spindly little legs. It bugged me.
Hey, some people don't do leg day.
And he skipped leg day a lot.
I reached for the mic for that joke, and this guy's already on it. So, well, he used to work at a gym. So,
So you can tell the motivations in this entire book. Get back to Wakanda. And I think the art did a lot of storytelling, which is great because I don't think you need hand holding, especially like he even says, Brian Hill says it in his letter at the end of the book. I get it. You've all seen Black Panther. Like, I know you know who Killmonger is. And he's like, I'm hoping to give you something different. I wouldn't be in this. I was going to tell you the same exact story. So this is going to be something different that I think you'll understand the character a lot more by the time he gets to the point where he meets up with T'Challa.
Okay.
Um,
Find out who are those three people? Because I thought it was Misty Knight working for the Fat Man.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that being Misty Knight.
I
It's
guess
Knight, King,
Knight, Rook, and King.
and I think he's going to be Pawn because and the cover of the next issue's got a pawn on him.
Oh, really? Okay.
We find out the big bad pulling the strings of because basically Killmonger is trying to kill Claw. He has him dead in sights on a sniper rifle, and then Knight has a little pistol pointed at the back of his head, and she's like, "You better not do that." And then he gets apprehended by King, Knight, and Rook because they were ordered to protect Claw.
Yep.
And the guy pulling the strings behind this,
But Killmonger's too effective to kill right then and there.
right? Because they know they can recruit him and make him
Yep.
part of their team. Wilson Fisk is the puppet master. That part kind of made me disappointed.
Oh, actually, it made sense to me that Kingpin is making deals, owns the city for the most part. Anything bad that goes on, he's a part of some way or another. And instead of losing a worker of Claw, we'll hire the other guy out. Eventually, you can get your revenge. I don't need Claw all that time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice that, at least in this part, Kingpin is a viable character. Yes, I'm sure Killmonger will either go take a fist, beat the shit out of him, or screw you. I don't need this part of your gang. But
Right. And then at the end, you can tell that, he's not really interested in this team, but then Knight's kind of like, why don't you give us a chance? Maybe we can help each other out. And then you can say like, hey, you might be able to do that, but I have one mission. That's getting back to Wakanda.
how does he? So she questions what Killmonger's doing because he's outside, kind of must be talking to himself. Because even Knight goes, "How crazy are you? You're talking to yourself." And he's having a conversation with Bass, the goddess of Wakanda. But then he looks at Knight, and at the cliffhanger is when he looks at Knight, he sees Bast.
Right. So you can feel the chemistry between them. Like he has a crush on her.
Yep.
It's no joke there. And
Well, I think he almost uses the same line on her anyway.
yeah,
So
right. So I'm sure that'll play out in the rest of the series is that they'll be really close and then probably similar like the actual Black Panther movie, his lady friend will die or something, some kind of motivation.
well, to be fair, and I guess in the movie he just kind of
Well, because again,
he has a motivation. He has
so
an objective
what is
of-
Killmonger seeing through her? Bast,
Bast.
right? Which
Home.
reminds him of home, Wakanda.
Yep.
So no matter whatever gets in his way, he's always going to have one track mind about what he wants.
I mean, you're right. He's got one focus. Yeah, you can have a little dalliance on the side,
right,
but no matter what, the end game is get to Wakanda.
right. And he even called like the professor. What did he call her? Like something dweller, city dweller.
white trash or something. It was something like that.
Right. Basically, making fun of
Colonizer.
non-Wakandans. Yeah, colonizer. There you go.
Yep.
I would give this book a 9. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm ready for the next issue because I think we're going to get more into who Killmonger is, and that I think is going to be more
I
exciting.
went into this being a little more him living up to his name, and I guess I didn't realize that Killmonger literally is just his name. It's not this title that he gave himself. Because I always thought that was like the bad guy name, the alias given to him was he was so good at killing, loves killing, that they gave him this name of a Killmonger. But I give this a 9. This is a very strong issue. It makes me excited to be reading this book. I know Black Panther's been kind of that hit for at least for Garrett and myself. I know Marvin's always been a fan of Black Panther. Him and Daredevil and the Captain, best buds.
All right, on to the final book of the evening. We have Martian Manhunter #1, written by Steve Orlando with art by Riley Rossmo.
So on the Gauntlet, I had said the Riley Rossmo art, it looks the same and yet it doesn't. There are things that look.
The coloring. I think it's the coloring.
Coloring seems similar, like from Death Hand,
Oh, I thought the lines looked different.
Deathbed.
Like some of these characters, he draws so much bigger and bulkier. Like the Diane, she's even kind of big for a woman.
That's how he's always drawing people. They're big upper body, small legs.
Also skipped leg day.
Lots of leg day was missed this week.
12-issue maxi about Martian Manhunter. 2 different stories. One is him a detective and one about his past and Mars. There's different colors. He didn't color himself. So that may be why. Placencia did it. Mr. Ivan.
Oh. Ivan did Deathbed too. And the Shadow
I'm pretty sure Riley
Batman
usually
crossover.
does his own colors.
No, Placencia has done at least the last couple of miniseries I've seen with him.
What was the last one you said?
Deathbed.
Oh, look at it.
I know. Marvin can't be wrong. So in this issue, I think what I really like, and I think a lot of people forget, is that Martian Manhunter is a detective. Like that, he's not just running the Hall of Justice 24/7.
Yeah.
He actually
Has a day job.
has a life, outside of being a superhero.
So count me as a stupid person. I don't know a lot about Martian Manhunter.
Mm-hmm.
His planet. I mean, he was from Mars, or
Yep.
he's from
He's from Mars, and the white Martian.
and he got destroyed, right?
It's fucking who's Martian Manhunter. He's from Mars. You don't know he's from Mars?
Did you hear me go? Oh, he's from Mars, bro. No, fuckhead. I just told you. Count me as stupid. I don't know these things.
So there
What is
was
his name?
there was a raid of
So,
white
he's an alien.
Martians.
Captain America. What country is he from?
Spain.
Go ahead.
So white Martians come to Mars and try to wipe out the green Martian race, basically.
That sounds racist.
Well, that's
I
what
mean,
it is.
technically, it's an allegory for racism.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, here's the
Wait,
thing.
do we see any white Martians?
Yeah, in the beginning.
No, it was a gold Martian. He said,
The
he
one
was.
that he's interrogating the
Yeah,
white Martian.
it's gold, and they're saying he said you yellow skinned bastards helped out the white skins.
Oh no, the white. There was one burning in the beginning of the issue.
Oh, I
In
think
the
weren't you
beginning
talking
of
about the guy he
flashback.
was torturing?
No,
No, Alex, I think it was.
no, I was.
he didn't bring one.
I just
up.
wanted to know.
I was
if white-
explaining what the white Martians are.
I just want to know if we'd seen one.
But yeah,
'Cause
that
the one I
gold
saw
one's the
with
one
that
he's interrogating because
Weirdo gold dude.
they're like mercenaries, I would say.
Anyway, this made me excited for getting this this maxi series. There's things I didn't know about. The art looks so good. I'm not normally a fan for Steve Orlando.
Yeah, Steve Orlando, I
Voice
think
got
he
high.
can either write really well or he can kind of you can tell
Wishy-washy.
he's going for the paycheck. Sometimes I can get some James Robinson stories out of him. But this one, I feel, at least this first issue, I did really enjoy. I think he put enough character development with John in there. And Riley Roswell with that cover even, just Martian Manhunter wearing a detective's badge. So cool.
And I think I actually enjoyed the detective stuff more than I enjoyed the Martian part of it.
Yeah.
Where I actually kind of felt like, oh, he knows, he's seeing things obviously that other people aren't. He's also connected into telepathy, reading people's minds,
You're right.
getting that echoes from
I
people.
said you're right. Ivan was in all those books. But
But like I
get that
didn't read
writing.
Deathbed. I looked at Deathbed pictures, and it actually does look like this book a lot. I never read that, but the Batman stuff he did looks way different.
It's like a lot darker colors.
Yeah,
in
so
there and
that's
stuff.
what I was basing it on. This seems more colorful. I didn't like the. I mean, I didn't hate it, but also I felt it was a little boring. The Martian parts.
Mm-hmm.
The
Oh,
other part I
flashback.
loved.
I mean, do you think we're at a disadvantage of that because we know about
Yeah,
Martian Manhunter?
I was like, why?
Like they
I,
were shoving Mars down your throat.
So wait, what's
I was like, I know about this. Why were you going?
okay?
with
I'm going to
this?
ask another dumb question. He's from Mars.
yep.
Does he hunt men?
No, Manhunters are. So do you know Green Lanterns? They have Manhunters.
What?
The rich before they made Green Lanterns, they had Manhunters.
Oh, okay.
And they decided like the Manhunters were like the police force of space,
Okay.
and they decided that they didn't have good judgment because they were robots, and so they
the
needed
aliens?
actual people of those regions to be Green Lanterns. So he's a Manhunter. He's like a police guy.
Okay. But before, so as a manhunter, like literally right now, is this manhunting?
He's basically a police.
Is it?
He's just a police.
But is he before Green Lanterns were created?
I'm not sure in this. This doesn't.
Okay.
This definitely doesn't feel in continuity. It just feels like it's its own
That's
thing.
well, okay.
So, and I think that's the way it was solicited, being like 12-issue mini that is basically like Vision. Just, I mean, well, that's not a good example because that was in continuity. But this is its own thing, and I don't think they plan to take it out of whatever world he's building here.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing really tying it to the continuity, but there's nothing not tying it.
I
to
know
the
it definitely is the Martian Manhunter that we know, but I do think they're just gonna tell the story, and then later
Everything
they
else
could
is outside,
later they could
yeah.
retcon it to be part of continuity if it becomes good enough, or if they don't feel like it should be, they're just not gonna include it. So the one part that was interesting, no, I was kidding. The one part, this book's fucking weird, dude. We saw some alien sex in this book. I did not expect. By the way, the panel works great on that page. So
Even the first page.
it was
They've done
weird.
that. They've done that in Supergirl before with the melting of the minds or the
But they
merging
melted
of the
their
minds.
bodies too.
Yeah, I
because
know.
they're shapeshifters. I didn't even think about that.
Well, they share like a mind.
they became one. They melted their
Yeah.
minds and their bodies.
Well, then his
and
wife is telling him, What's going on with you?"
He's got a lockbox on his brain.
I thought I blocked that out. I connected to.
But he was like, I did it because I didn't want you to see the horrific things I see as a police officer.
But basically, he's hiding it because he's corrupt, and he doesn't want her to see the corrupt things. Because when that guy came up on her thing, he's like, "How dare you call me at my house?"
Oh, I
So he
see.
obviously doesn't want her to see how corrupt he is as a cop, because they all think he's a good cop.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I just want you to see the horrors of being a cop." And she's like, "I show you the horrors of being a nurse or something." Or is she doctor, nurse, someone?
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, that's the reason I want to." But it's really because he's corrupt and he fucking tortures people and shit. He doesn't want her to see that. Otherwise, it was good. I mean, even that the Martian parts weren't bad. I just wasn't super interested. The other stuff I was really good into.
Detective stuff.
The panel work in all of it's great. That crime scene is great, and the way this book ends is fantastic.
Yep. That actually was the biggest saving grace for this book.
The way he's melting, ooh,
yeah.
Yeah.
gross. This book's kind of gross.
The next
That cover's great.
The next 11 months of some Riley Roswell.
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
Providing he can stay on it.
That's the thing, though. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, he just did those 6 issues of
I'd say
Deathbed.
Deathbed was great, and a lot of work went
Well,
into
that's
that.
6.
And if it gets a little, there's some boobs in it. Yeah, there's some sex in it. There's no melding of the bodies, but that 6 issues was great.
They
by
could take a
Deathbed.
break, just like
Yeah, they did a halfway.
Mr.
Well, that's what and
Miracle.
Deathbed kind of fell behind
Right.
for a
No,
little
so it came
gap
out
or two.
monthly.
6 and 6. There we go.
No, I was pretty sure at least lost 1 month.
They were doing like Black Panther, beginning of 1 month and end of the
Wait,
other.
okay, I'll meet you there.
I would give it an 8.
Yeah, I ate too.
It would have been
I liked it, but it wasn't enough.
Right.
It wasn't enough for like it wasn't a 9 or I feel like a 9 and 10 for me. I can be like, go get this book. 8 is something that I would have to gauge and be like, yeah, are you into Martian Manhunter? Are you interested? Yes, go get it.
If I'm going on whether or not I should suggest this to somebody, this would be like a 4. But what I enjoyed it.
Do you want to recommend the Melting of the Minds?
No, probably not.
I think it's
It's
definitely
like,
a
like
good
an image book almost, where it's like, you go into this book.
Maybe this is
kinda-
when you have your wife free with you.
No, I don't think so.
This is a good entrance into Martian Manhunters.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You
Like,
want,
if you're in, you want to get into that kind of world.
for me and Marvin,
this is good.
it was treading like ground. Like
Some of us got to read other things.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know. Not even that it was boring.
But even I thought the Martian part of it was kind of boring.
I think it's a
didn't care.
little overwritten.
I was more interested in the detective work because that's what I actually know him more from.
So you were talking about earlier, Steve Orlando's hit or miss on his work, and I feel like when he's missed, he overwrites, and when he hits, he holds back a little. Lets the art do its story. So the detective parts felt that way, where the Martian parts felt like it was a little overwritten.
He was like trying to explain. Like,
Yeah. He showed you like the whole situation going on and tell you the whole history within that one issue.
But this is one of those characters with the opposite. Like usually, it's not only. So when I read Spider-Man, I don't read for Peter Parker all the time. I actually like to see Spider-Man. This is one of those books. Instead of seeing Martian Manhunter, I really just want to see John Jones do his job.
John Jones do his job. Martian Manhunter number 1, did you give it?
I give it an 8.
Martian Manhunter number 1, Prodigy number 1, Killmonger number 1, Defenders Namor number 1, Die number 1, and there's one more. What is it?
Shazam.
Shazam number 1. Those are the comic books come out this week. A lot of new ones. You could try them out if you want to.
For you, it makes life easy when they're all number 1s. You just can't remember who it is.
Pick them up where you pick up your comics. That's the comic shop or online, wherever you do it if you want it digital. Speaking of new number 1s, we are going to give the award out for Best New Series of 2018. We all together. We all individually and put together a top 5. We're doing a top 5 Best New Series of 2018. So if you are looking for a series that some of these are completed for me, I think. Some of them are still going on. But these are Best New Series of 2018. We also like to award a series for Shooting Out the Gate Strong. And in the next upcoming weeks, just to give you a little heads up, next week, Best Writer, Best Artist of 2018.
Award season, bro.
And then the week afterwards, actually, no, we'll take a little break. We'll have a little Christmas party. Steven. And then after Christmas, the episode after Christmas will be our Best Comic Book of 2018, top 5 there also. So, but this is Best New Series. Alex, number 5, new series 2018. Where did you go? What kind of direction?
Technically, I don't think has had a whole first arc, but it's at least 4 issues in. Bully Wars number 1 through 4. I've only read 1 and 2. I just got 3 today. This book is a Scotty Young and I think it's Connolly art. I believe it's Connolly art.
Ryan Conley? I don't know.
I believe so.
Yeah.
This is one of those books that with Scotty Young on it, after I'd gone off that high of I hate Fairyland, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give Scotty a little bit more of my time, more of my attention. He's writing Deadpool. Love me some Deadpool. And so I got Bully Wars and I was like, you know what? This is some good stuff. It's not the same thing I've seen before. There's got that kind of Hunger Games, Hogwarts tri-tournament kind of thing where there's something going on. All these bullies have got their specialties. I was like, you know, this is a book I'm excited to be a part of. I'm excited to read some more Scotty Young. And the weird thing for me is all of I Hate Fairyland. I thought this can only be like 10 issues long, maybe 15 at most. Only went to 20, but it was such a good run, a good playful run. And I think that's what this book will be. Bully Wars is a fun, lighthearted book. Yeah, bullying is legitimately horrible in the world.
Right.
But in this realm, it's a sport.
Well, and then you can see in the background, like, the nerds kind of run the show.
Yeah.
Like, they're training the bullies.
Yep.
So, on to me next?
Yep.
All right. So, my number 5 is Venom by Donny Cates. I don't know.
Ryan Stegman.
Ryan Stegman.
For the most part.
For the most
other than
part.
7 and 8.
What was yours?
Venom.
Are you even fucking listening to us over here?
I was just seeing the
We're
thing.
telling you some good stuff, and you're like, I'm too busy. Oh, shit.
Go ahead.
So I picked Venom because I think Donny Cates has like done something with the mythology of this character that's unlike anything I've read. I did just read the Carnage one shot, which was so good, and ties into this series greatly that I'm super excited for the future. I think the last couple of issues of Venom have not been strong, but I think the first arc was really great, and I hope to see when like Stegman comes back that it gets back on.
I read number 9. Number 9 was great.
Yeah.
So
I guess I read 9.
Stegman was back on.
Yeah.
That's one of those books that it's nice to see Donny Cates do more than just his 6-issue run, and to add more mythos like we've seen with how he does like Thanos. And
I
other
like these
characters.
one shots, like adding to the book.
Yeah.
Like that's always cool.
My number 5, sticking in the Marvel world, Immortal Hulk series. I really did enjoy, especially the first arc. There's one issue I didn't enjoy, but the issue afterwards I did. So I think it's back on track. Immortal Hulk, Al Ewing, somebody I enjoyed from his past work. Ultimates was pretty good. And Joe Bennett's art is fantastic. I just like the fresh, not really fresh, but reinvention of Hulk, taking him back to where he was and making it modern for the modern age. The first arc is fantastic. And then we get one issue, which is okay. And then it's been good since then. So that's a series that started this year that surprised me. And I'm going to continue getting. But also because to take the Hulk and bring him back to horror, which I think he sits at, really does set Marvel apart. Rather than having 15 superhero books, you used to have a superhero horror book. You know what I mean? So it's nice to have that kind of genre.
Did you read issue 10?
I've heard it's incredible. Oh, you said it was good. Or you said Defenders was good. Defenders
Was good. Then I also read Immortal Hulk number 10 was good.
I think 9 is the last one I read.
Okay. So you like the Absorbing Man one?
Yeah.
Okay. 9 was great. I really liked 9. 10 was a good, carried on from there, and that book is disgusting. So
that's what I mean. Joe Bennett's art.
We're getting back into it's gross to read this book.
It's part of the horror. Have you ever seen The Fly? It kind of reminds me of The Fly a little bit. It's like part of the horror is how gross it is.
And that's what made it really good, is that there's stuff that happened in 10 that I was like, this book is getting back on par. That issue 8 was, I could have lived without issue 8. But I digress. It was good.
Yeah.
Good
So
issue
I've
10.
been enjoying it, and that's a series that I would recommend to people. Especially if they love Hulk in the movies, be like, hey, try this out. And then watch him get grossed out and scared by the Hulk, which he should be. So,
Well, he should be a scary guy. And to be fair, some of these things that you see he's going through, no one else could survive the shit.
and if you got slammed with gamma rays, you're not going to be 100% like look like yourself, but just green.
Yeah.
Your face is going to be kind of lumpy.
Well, what issue was it? Issue 8, where he breaks out of the secret camp,
Yeah.
and he's morphing into Hulk, or he's morphing back into
The art was great in that
Bruce.
issue. But yeah.
Yeah.
For that.
I was like,
stuff,
this
yeah.
book is getting back on track. Beside issue 8,
I just
or 7.
realized the book I forgot. So I'm going to put it on the list.
My number 4, Black Panther. This is a book that Ta-Nehisi Coates and Acuna, right?
Yep.
Acuna, and now we've got, who's the newest artist that we just had?
I don't know.
I loved issue 6. So strong, amazing looking. This book has been amazing. I had been wanting to get on a Black Panther book, and I realized again, bandwagoning of that Black Panther back in February, loving that movie, want to get to be a part of this, and I finally jumped on, and I've been blown away. It's been kind of that space opera. It's not been that regular, we're in Wakanda, we're in space doing Black Panther things. And this book has been so strong.
It has been good in the last issue with Killmonger. Was really great. It was just a fun read to kind of get a different perspective of that series.
Which actually
You said Black
screams out
Panther's my number
to...
4 too.
Huh?
It's not my number 4 too.
You cut me. You threw me off when you said it's my number 4, which actually goes back to the Venom run with the Clintar. Just saying
Right.
that to see how much expansion just one character's book can make for everybody.
All in the Marvel universe, yeah.
What you said is true. It is like I think that's the thing about, and you'll notice over my list. There's way more Marvel in here than I expected. This year was a year for them to reinvent these books, and I do think they finally figured out. Let's not just have all the books exist in the same world and be the same type of book. We can make these different genres. And so those are the books that are standing out for me, are books that aren't doing what they've always done, but like, let's try this. So Black Panther in Space being kind of a sci-fi book. Let's try that. And the art's great from Acuna. Even when it went over to Jen Bartel, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Bartel.
that's what it was.
It was great then too. And
Blackbird.
Coates has been amazing on this book so far. And so that is something that... So I think I said before we started the show, I'm not really confident in this list, but as we went on the show, I changed like 3 of my answers, and because I forgot about these books. And these
Chris
now
Samney?
my list, I am super proud of. This whole top 5 shows, especially for Marvel, like coming back and like
They are making a comeback.
stopping.
Did you
what we
remember
used to
last
hate.
year?
Yeah, last year wasn't good.
Oh, Marvel was not doing hot.
So I am proud to see them take chances and see them let creators do what they want,
especially with the books on this list. So.
Take chances,
maybe
make
you don't need
mistakes.
80 books coming out.
Get messy.
No, they still gotta. Yeah, they're still trying to flood the market. But at least with Black Panther and another book coming out on my list, at least those ones they give the time to be right.
And speaking of that, that's my number 4 is Captain America
How do you know I'm talking about that?
because you said it's by the same
Oh,
writer.
number 4.
No, I didn't. I said another one on my list.
Okay,
Might
am
be
I right?
Daredevil.
though?
And Black Panther is number 4.
Captain America by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and this one was Lionel Francis Yu
Yep.
does the art, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I've been really loving this book. You think Black Panther comes out slow? Captain America comes out tortoise, like 100 times slower. It is so great because I think we've all been
Did it
wanting.
come out this week? Next week.
Next week.
I saw it somewhere.
We've been wanting a legit Captain America for a while now. We thought after Nick Spencer's run that we'd be getting something new, which kind of morphed into Hydra Cap. And then we went to Chris Samney and Mark Waid. And still, we got close to being back. And then it kind of like phased into some future alien crap.
It started out being on the right track, and then we went into a different storyline.
Well, that's the thing with Captain America. I'll talk to Laura about that later. Maybe, possibly. Who knows? Where we talk about them trying to reinvent, do something different for characters. That's something they tried with Cap for a while, but I feel like the reason why they did it is incorrect. I think for the reason why they were doing all that weird stuff with Cap and trying to bring him out of his element was they thought that Captain America was boring. And he's not. When you go back to what he really does truly stand for and the stories you can tell with that, you do see it rings true today and it rings true when he first started. And you can't just say that it's boring because nobody wants to talk about politics in books, but when you have a character called Captain America, you better be talking about politics. You better be talking about what's happening in his country. You better be talking about, do I stand for something this country still stands for? Like, those are still relevant things for him. Even though you may think he is old school, he lives in a new world and he needs to address that.
Yeah, I think similar. He is just, you don't need to change him to fit today's modern society. You need to have him hold true to the values that he's always held on to, because Captain America would never change those values. He would always, I would say he's the equivalent of Superman Boy Scout. He's true, like the everyday Boy Scout. So, and I think that he won't cross those moral lines and boundaries if he doesn't have to. And he sticks to his guns as close as he can.
To be fair, Captain is a killer.
Alex, what's your number
Mini
3?
Hydra Cap, so.
So now you're gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong.
Probably.
I actually put Thanos on here.
Yeah, it came out last year.
Was it 2017?
That was
Okay.
one I thought put on the list. In
Okay.
November.
I noticed that too.
Okay, because I put it on there. I thought,
I'll allow it.
if you're gonna allow, otherwise I had another option.
Okay,
And I
we'll
have
go to
about
the
20
option.
things.
Go to your other option.
Okay, my other option, Farmhand.
Farmhand.
By
Number
Rob.
3?
Yeah, by Rob
That's my
Guillory.
number 3 also.
Rob Guillory. I forgot about that book, but
It's so good.
And this is actually, but the weird thing is, this book wasn't on my list until I went, oh shit, and then I decided to add it. I was thinking about, I got an issue 5, so I haven't finished the first arc, but those first 4 issues were so good.
You're going to love issue 5.
And this is one of those books, probably one of the strongest things I've seen come out recently, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that I always wanted to read Chew by John Layman and Rob, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to get this first issue of Farmhand. If I don't like it, I can drop it. I loved issue 1. Thought it was so good. That art was so refreshing. The story was really, 1, terrifying, and 2, what a neat idea. Then I got into issue 2 and issue 3. I thought, holy shit, look at that giant ass dog. Holy shit. I mean, this book is just, every issue is holy shit.
There's a great combination of, you got horror, you got comedy, you got serious, like you have drama moments,
Family problems.
flashbacks. I mean, legitly, if you didn't read any comic books ever, but you picked up one to read and all you wanted to know was this comics universe, like this would be the book for you. It's got world building. It's got it all. And I always alluded to this, that it's very much, I think, like Goosebumps for me. Like, some things are like not as they. A lot of things aren't as they seem.
Yeah.
And so when you get into this series, there's a lot of things revealed. There's a lot of good cliffhangers, but so much great story. You know, there's characters that you get introduced to in like issue 1 or 2, and you find out that they have a huge part of the story to play in like issue 5 and 4 and 5, and it's just greatly drawn. And you know, I love when an artist is also a great writer, and I think Rob Guillory does that really.
Did you get the first arc issue?
I've got the first Omnivore books. I think I've read the first 5 or 6 issues, and it's good.
Yeah, it's good.
But it's part of me is like I want to get the other books so I can have the whole run at least. Not I probably won't get the issues. It's a lot of money to hand out, but I do want to get that and finish it up.
My
Doesn't even remember.
number 3. Oh, I remember. I think. Just gonna confirm. I don't want to say it. Yeah, I was correct. Now, my number 3 is something that's done. So if it's interesting, you can go get it. It is something that ties into something else, but it does live in its own.
Something.
It is something that I enjoyed every issue
Let
of.
me guess. Mr. Miracle.
Nope, Mr. Miracle came out. It started last year.
Came back this year.
Dr. Star in the
Kingdom of Tomorrow.
Kingdom of Tomorrow was fantastic. Was something that choked me up. And I believe every single issue on this podcast I was a champion of, and I was like, this is a 10 out of 10. I don't think there was a weak issue in that run. And it definitely is the type of comics I love. Jeff Lemire. Last year was the year of Jeff Lemire. I think this year is still the same. Anything came out that even that's not new, something that continued was still strong. Rose City had a strong ending. We had some strong starts like this book, possibly other ones. Who knows? And this is the thing Jeff can flex well is these type of different genres. But the thing that he always keeps consistent is that he focuses on characters first, plot second, so that I care what happens to them. And every person in this book, I can say I was always concerned what is going to happen to these people, even if they're not good people. The main character of this book is not a great guy. He definitely tries to atone for that. And that's what makes this book heartbreaking and depressing. Mm-hmm. But in a way that makes you re-examine your own life, re-examine what you think of people like this, and re-examine what life really, like just in general, like what happens in the story, time. What happens when you are too focused on something else and you waste your time and you can't get it back. Right. And just that, like, even though the whole thing is centered on characters and it has a plot, the plot usually is so well done that by the end, the plot drives the characters to like make that moment where you're like, damn, like this guy like lost time and it really did crush them, because the main thing is, I don't really want to spoil it too much because I want people to read it, but something happens where he can't get it back, and guess what? Somebody else doesn't get the same kind of time he does. And it really does make him feel horrible, but then also like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. It made you reflect on a lot of things, and that was a great book. The art's great too. Max Fumara, I believe it was. Yeah. That's a book, even though it's tied into Black Hammer, that book sits on its own enough that you could just read that thing without reading any Black Hammer. But
that is a really good choice. I maybe just because I forgot about it because it came out so long ago. But you're right. Once you bring it up, that really was such a great series.
I love this.
I think we're getting to that point now where we're starting to read so many books that I need to be doing this list year round. And then when I get to wrapping it up, then I was like, okay, I can cut some corners here. Because there's like, I forgot about that book. Issue 4, I remember tearing up reading this book. Unfortunately, we miss out on some of these contenders. Way to go, Marvin.
See? Now I am the person you guys forgot. So you see that? Turned it around from last year.
Well, like when you forgot about
go Alex, what's your number 2?
So my number 2, I'm counting that. To me, this is close enough to be in an arc. Man-Eaters.
Oh no, the whole arc's been out.
Is issue 3 an arc?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then, good. I haven't read issue 3.
My number 2 is Man-Eaters.
Is it really?
We're on point. Boom.
If your number 1's the same, I'll be not surprised.
It will not be the same.
No, it's actually
Man-Eaters is such a fun concept. I think that's what we've been saying recently is any issue 1 or any new series that's like succeeded has a really cool feature of it recently that it's like a new concept that we've never seen before. There can be number ones that are kind of retelling different versions of other stories, but I think that in this instance, a new, fresh, exciting concept where it's world building, there's comedy, there's a lot of education. I think every male should be reading this book. I mean, obviously, it's very generated towards females, I would say. But I think anybody can read it. It's eye-opening. That's exactly why males should read it, too.
Books that, for me, I like books that actually have that kind of real-world tie. Like Sex Criminals, obviously, I don't freeze time, and I realize I bring it up. Every time we talk about man-eaters, I don't freeze time when I orgasm. But what an interesting concept of sex is a taboo thing to tell. Well, maybe I do freeze time and you guys don't know.
You do for me. Go ahead.
Oh,
I'm leaving.
I didn't want to say it on the line, but you're right. I do. But man-eaters is one of those things, a taboo thing to talk about is a period or menstruation, whatever word you want to use. I think that is so interesting that Chelsea Kane has decided, I'm going to tell this story. And when girls go through their period, hey, guess what? They turn into wildcat monsters. I was in love with this book from issue 1. Read issue 2 was so good. I'm hoping issue 3 blows me out of the water, and I'm sure it will if you boys are like, to me.
Yeah, we talked about it on the show last week, didn't we?
Nope.
Issue 3? I swear we did. Oh, yeah, because you stopped listening when we were talking about it.
Yeah, he got off.
Yeah.
We did talk about
Oh,
it.
you
but
did.
yeah,
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I thought we didn't meet here and talk about it.
I do agree. Like this for me is if I could tie one, it would be tied with Immortal Hulk. Like it's right there. I just feel like I need a little bit more to justify it to be on my list, but I do enjoy it a lot. It is definitely a series that I would recommend to people to read, and it is one of those books that I would have to be like, what are you into? I'd just be like, yeah, just read it.
I think if you didn't have Black Panther on your list, and I don't think if there's another book, which I would assume is on your list, if you didn't have some of these other characters from Marvel, I think this book would have been on your list, even if it wasn't on.
Definitely my second favorite Image book of the year. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. It's very exciting. Very much look forward to the next issue.
Yes. I was gonna say, I know our favorite one from Image. R.I.P.
I think after you read issue 3, you're going to be like,
I'll probably read it tonight when I get home.
there's like a different twist on the story. I feel
3's the best one.
Yeah,
Is it?
100%. That you'll like it.
I'm excited.
My number 2, the man, the myth, the legend, Captain America.
There it is.
Ta-Nehisi Coates, Linnell Francis Yu. Like I said before, this is Captain America is my favorite Marvel character. So I mean, he's gonna be on this fucking list. But I mean, that's not true for all the time because you could see if you go back to our Secret Empire reviews, I didn't like how he's portrayed in that. But not only because he was portrayed as something he's not. I could take that. He could change if he needs to, but I just don't feel like it was well done. And then the Rick Remender stuff we liked at the beginning, and then I don't know. Eventually, you're kind of like, yeah, it's cool once, but then I don't know. I just felt like it was more
redundant after a
it was
while.
more to be like, hey, let's try something different for this character. And
What if Cap was like this?
Yep.
but this really is a true my favorite recent stuff of Captain is Ed Brubaker stuff, and this really does feel kind of like that, but more political. And that's kind of a book I've been needing for a while. And it's with a character that I feel is very relevant in today's world and really does need to, like, if he was an actual person, would really be speaking up right now. And so that, for me, and to have this kind of book where he does, this is the Cap I know and I love. And the reason why I like him as a character is because this person in this book, I mean, it really is kind of the person that I model myself after, if I'm going to say that, for as a fictional character. Captain America, what he stands for. He's very a selfless person, and he is a guy that really tries to build others up. And it isn't about him being a captain, it's about him being a leader. And that's what this book's about. And I mean, I love Steve Rogers when he's like this. And so that book for me, not only is the plot good, I think, not only is the art good, and dialogue, but just his characterization for me And rings so true for me that since I enjoy his character, every time I read this book, I'm all like, yeah, that's Steve I know.
Well, even like his moral story, just the way he carries himself. That last issue 5, when he's fighting Taskmaster and he's almost admitting defeat. I don't know if I can beat this guy, and he gets that last little twinge when he hears Sharon yell. He's like, oh shit,
That's the thing.
I need to win this fight.
It's not enough for him to try. That is definitely, he does definitely try all the time, but he'll push himself as hard as he can go because he knows other people are depending on him. And he knows he would expect that out of anybody else, not because he wants to push them to their limit out of a selfish place, but he knows they have potential.
He knows they can do better.
He knows at one point he had no powers and he still pushed himself to his potential. And that's the reason why he got picked to be Captain America. So he knows it's possible. And he's just hoping that everybody else can be the same way, even if you don't have powers. It doesn't matter to him. Like, he knows you'll give 100%. You do what you can for people who can't. So,
Even if he is a ghost.
Alex, what's your number one?
He's a ghost.
The same number one you have.
Oh, shit.
What?
Go ahead. No, I have one number one. Go ahead. Which one do you have?
So you're on number one, right?
Yeah, number one.
Okay. Gideon Falls.
Oh, fuck. Forgot all about
It's right
that.
there.
Yeah. Ah.
Is that not your number one?
I forgot about it.
Holy
too.
shit.
Okay, that's my number one.
Okay, I was like, holy shit.
Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrentino. The year of Jeff Lemire continues, Version 3. Is it 3 years?
I think it's our
I think
third year.
every single year we've done the show. It's the man does not. There's three things I like with Jeff Lemire: his books, his work ethic,
His face.
and just the man himself.
The man knows how to change up a genre. He doesn't have to have all things be action. Not everything has to be a drama. Not everything is a horror. He's got a book in every notion, in every universe. He's doing DC, Marvel, Image,
And
Black
Alex,
Horse.
I know
and me.
you get angry because all the shit's getting sold to TV and movies and shit like that. But at least the man's getting paid.
I mean, I'm glad he's getting paid, but I really am one of those.
100% this will be adapted for TV.
It is actually it already picked up.
Yeah, right.
They already made the first season. It's getting printed out next week. I think it's one of those things, though. Not everything needs to be. That's what bugs me. There are some things that can literally be just a book.
Anyways,
I know.
Gideon Falls.
I understand where you're coming
Let's
from.
get involved.
But I just mean I like that he's being rewarded
Saga of
for that.
Swamp Thing.
I mean, a lot of people like his books, and we know, at least in the comic world, he's making money. He's making good money, and he doesn't have to take jobs he doesn't want to anymore. So I do enjoy that. I know, like, when you get a Jeff Lemire who can do what he wants, what he gives us is great. And hold on,
Are you guys like dying
I've been having that
tonight?
issue. Well,
I
I've
should
had.
call that Coke.
I've been
Jesus.
drinking.
And so, like, the Jeff Lemire, like, when you take away any of his editors and stuff, people that are holding him back, sometimes you can get the situation where if you have somebody that can do whatever they want, it's not great. They need people to cut down their work and actually, like, look at it. Jeff, I feel like, has great relationships with his artists. He always has great artists in his books, and they always work collaboratively to tell a story that is great in that medium. And so that's why I kind of agree with Alex. Like, yeah, Gideon Falls as a TV show won't be as good as this book. It'll have to be something
They're
different.
making one anyway.
But I know. But I mean, it's not going to be this book. Yeah, they are. It's not going to be this book because what makes this book excellent is the way Jeff writes it, the pacing that he sets for it, Andrea Sorrentino's art, and like I said before, strong characters. So that's why I love this book. I don't love this book because, like, if you stripped away those things and it was just about this kind of story, like, if somebody else wrote this book, I don't think I would like it. It's Jeff Lemire writing this book that I love.
I didn't put it on my list only for the fact that I still feel like there's a big part of the story that we don't know yet. And so when I'm kept at like arm's length and I'm not being trusted with all the information yet, I know I will be eventually. That's why I don't know. I just don't like that uncomfortable. I mean, that's what the horror is supposed to do, is make you feel uncomfortable. But I think there's just so much I don't know still that's why I'm like, when I think about it, I'm just like, I just don't know what's going on.
He doesn't like it because he gets scared.
He probably does.
Last
Put
time,
that demon in my
Babadook.
wall.
did you remember
In
when
that
you
closet right there?
did you remember when you texted us that he peed his pants with the last issue?
You know it.
Yeah. Good thing I was peeing on your
Fantastic book.
comics.
That's a
Yes.
book I recommend to anybody. It's a book that I recommend to people who don't even read comics.
It's
would be
this
like, it's
is
very
probably
cinematic.
one of the best Sorrentino arts I've seen in a long time.
If you are a fan of, if I'm going to relate to people who look at this comic and think, should I? If you're a fan of True Detective Season 1 or a fan of Seven the movie, it's in that kind of tone. So if those interest you at all, get this book.
But also, if you've read anything before Jeff Lemire and you enjoyed it, get this book.
Yes.
If you enjoy good comic books, get this book.
Get Descender. Beat Marvin to the punch and read
I
it.
told you, I already read it. It's good.
My number one,
Chomp chomp.
probably not a big surprise, but it could have been this year. It's Action Comics. Okay,
Wait, did it technically come out this year?
it did. It did.
Which he talked about it before he got here. I said I would allow it because Ben has started this year.
Right, because I didn't put it on my list because I thought that, I don't know, Action Comics has
I
been around
said
for 1,005
technically-
issues.
Technically it started.
Bennis
70 years ago.
He's saying Bennis is Action Comics.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I understand the premise. New team is
By the
on
way,
it.
I hit stop recording because we don't need to record this part. Go ahead. I'm just kidding. So do I.
Wow.
Guess what? I'll give you $1 to stop talking about it.
No. So coming from Action Comics 1000, which had some really strong parts to it, but Bendis's part was like, okay, like it didn't like set the tone for Superman, but it didn't really, it wasn't like the worst thing I've ever read, which led into the Man of Steel miniseries, which was horrible.
Yes.
And then the 25-cent DC Nation Zero, which the Superman story in that was horrible.
I don't even remember that one.
It was like when
Oh,
he was in
was-
the Daily Planet,
yeah.
like they throw you right in.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so bad.
With the dumb new character we had to meet. Yeah.
And so like there was all this amp up to Bendis being the new creative writer for Superman. And I can truly tell you that the Superman comic is god awful.
Is shit.
It is so bad. Because it's focused on Rogol Zar, and which is the new character that's a big dumb brute and it's like not interesting at all. Whereas Action Comics, why it's so great is because it is the Superman book that should be read. It is about Superman. It's about Clark Kent being at the Daily Planet. It's about Metropolis, Lois, Jimmy Olsen. Okay, Jimmy Olsen's you gotta be a little more fair with that. He gets like one panel issue, probably because of the Siegel family. The bad guy in it, they just revealed who the Red Mist is. I was a little disappointed by that reveal, but Bendis has got to bring some new things into the book. But I think what's really great about this is Bendis gets Superman, gets who this character is. I get a real like Christopher Reeve feel out of his impersonation of the character. The artist, thank God Gleason did the first couple issues, like that Action Comics 1001, probably one of my favorite issues of the year. This has, just seeing, I missed the forecast this week because I was watching the Superman 40th anniversary. Seeing that and then reading Action Comics, like you can tell that there's a lot of the same characterization. I'm a huge Superman fan, and so I was so worried from the content for Man of Steel. I mean, I had literally 7 months of horrible, shitty Superman books.
Yeah.
And it made me worried for Action Comics, and so I saw like everyone's like, oh fuck, Superman's ruined, whatever, and I was like, well, I'll try 1001. At least Gleason's on the book. I read it and I was like, that was actually really good. Read 1002. Holy fuck, this is really good. Read 1003. This is like one of the best series coming out, but no one's giving it a chance because they read Man of Steel or the 25-cent Adventure or the current Superman book, which is shit.
I say, to be fair, you're saying a lot of things that are valid for no one wanted to give it a chance.
Right.
And you talk such a good game about Action Comics. It's like, I really could get on that. I don't want to get into it. I obviously need to cut books. But
Is the first arc done?
Yep. First arc's done.
So that means the trade should be on Hoopla soon.
Well, it was a mini arc, so I was 3-issue arc. So I'm guessing
That's
it'll be
some
2
bullshit I
arcs.
was just lied to. And also, by the way, if you heard the evidence directly from his mouth, Garrett does not care for you enough. He'd rather see a Superman movie than talk to you. So
It was the 40th anniversary edition. I never saw it on the big screen.
it was 40.
So
We were
you
trying to
guys can
guess on
wait.
the forecast.
we thought it was 30.
We said 25, maybe 35. Turns out 40. We're 5 years out.
Yeah. So
Some
and-
fans we are.
Right. It was worth seeing. So
Well, like you said, you never saw it on the big screen. I took Marvin.
people were there?
I made Marvin go to
there was like 5 of us.
Beauty and the Beast with me.
Nerds.
Yeah. You two went to Beauty and the Beast in theaters. Together.
That is at least the best picture nominee. And yours was not. So
Yes, it was.
yeah, Superman's been a best picture
Oh,
nominee.
best special effects.
Yeah.
It won best special effects that year.
Yeah, certainly could use that for Best Picture. The most.
I mean,
prestigious
Suicide Squad won Best Visual Effects.
Yeah, but I'm saying Best Picture. We went to the Best Picture Beauty and the Beast.
Probably Rocky that year. I don't know. But anyways, Action Comics.
1991.
I do recommend it if you really like Superman, because otherwise you're going to read shit.
Action Comics. Bendis. Alex, what were you saying?
Don't you see right there? You just said the worst thing. Bendis, don't get it.
Me and Alex's joint number one, Gideon Falls. Some good books on this list. I would agree with all those, except that one I can't vouch for.
I think the problem is that I would almost be interested in reading Action.
Yeah,
Because I want
Maybe if
like
it comes on Hoopla, you guys can read. The
Like I've
first
wanted to
trade or
get a Superman book, and I think the problem is I give it a chance, and then it burns me.
Yeah, you definitely are in the wrong.
Well, that's
time
why-
to try
Because
Superman.
the
If you
Tomasi run, the first 10, 15 issues was great
That was really good.
until we went on a road trip, and then I was so annoyed.
That first issue was good. How about America? Loved it.
Marvin's
The
a sucker
best issue
for a
was issue
history
7.
lesson.
Alex, if you weren't such an old man, you could get on the Hoopla train and read it for free. Then you don't care if you burns you or not.
Oh, to be fair, I won't buy the book. So
That's what I'm saying.
eventually,
Go to your
it'll
library,
be free.
support your local library, and quit being an old man.
Yeah, and don't worry, because if you would have bought it, it would have been $50 just because it's Bendis.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Farmhand, I agree. Like all the things on your list, I do agree with, and I do feel like even though I think last week we talked about actually no, I don't know when we talked about it. Maybe just me and Alex talked about it actually in the forecast. We felt like the new series this year weren't as strong, but now that we sit down and I think about it, especially the ones that are all on the list, those are all good books, and nothing you can ask for more than like 10 great series to start with. So.
Well, the thing is that we're putting together these lists at the end of the year. We've already gone through 300 days.
Oh, believe me, I did a lot of research. Those are the 10 I could find. I mean, there is stuff like that definitely started in November, December, so it doesn't meet our criteria. But those I would say for anybody to listen to this, there definitely were a great series in 2018. That rings true. It's just that
It didn't start in 2018.
yeah. So when we get to best book, you'll hear more about those. But I do feel like for anything that started this year that you want to jump on, there are at least 10 good books that you can go out there and start and enjoy.
Are we doing top 10, even just top few issues? Because this year I actually did keep track of issues.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I know I did it last year, but I didn't keep track this year. So actually, we did that on the Christmas party. So join us for that, and you can mention them throughout, Alex. We're at a restaurant. I don't tell you which one we have a reservation at because I don't want you guys showing up there and
Crashing the party.
crashing our party and ruining our time with Steven.
Jimmy's got enough. Steven. I thought we were getting Jimmy back. No,
We killed
that's
Jimmy.
right. Jimmy's dead.
Hey, whoa, don't say that on the mic.
Oh, fuck. I'll kill you, Alex. No witnesses.
Wednesday Comics 605 at gmail.com. That's Google Mail. At Wednesday Comics, that's Twitter. And at Alex Pastrello, at Garot2188, at Marvin_Saguaro. Subscribe to the show. That's iTunes. That's Google Play. Google Podcasts. And that is Apple Podcasts. Spotify and Stitcher Radio. We are another one. So if you use another podcasting system or catcher, whatever you're going to do, we'll probably be on there. Search for Wednesday Comics. We are the logo with 3 people on it. 1 Captain America, 1 Batman, and 1 guy smiling like he went insane. Find us at Facebook.com/Wednesday Comics Podcast. That's where we're at. Like the page, share it with your friends. Let's get to 1,000 likes by tomorrow. That's not an ask. That's a demand. I don't care if you got to create 10 more accounts. Let's go, baby. Do we have a book club? I heard about a book club or something like that.
Wednesday Comics, League of Extraordinary Gentle People, proudly presents.
Saga the Swamp Thing, Volume 2.
It's Alan Moore. We'll be talking about that coming up here the first week in January. But also tune into that show because it's my turn to pick, right? You were last.
Should be.
Yeah, so I'm after that.
No, Alex is last.
I'm last. You're first, second,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
last.
So we'll a new book will be announced that week also for the next 3 months. But Saga the Swamp Thing, pick it up at your local comic book shop, online, or your library. Support your library also. I don't know why I'm just starting this.
I don't know. I keep looking at Saga number 1. I thought
Roots of the Swamp Thing.com, your definitive source for all things Swamp Thing. Go there. DC World Swampy on Twitter, Facebook.com/Roots of the Swamp Thing. Roots of the Swamp Thing is heating up. You got a lot of Swamp Thing content coming out pretty soon. You know why? Because I don't have my glasses on, so I feel like I'm blind. Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are doing a new Swamp Thing series coming up here in mini. We have Swamp Thing TV show, and we have Swamp Thing showing up in a million books as cameos. So, and actually, the Halloween special that came out in Walmart, those 100-page, they've been doing holiday specials that way too, and Swamp Thing's in that. So, if you want to go back and try to find it, probably can't. But if you have a Walmart that has them somewhere, there you go. Also, Hall and Follows number 3, pre-order it. Go to rootsoftheswampthing.com and pre-order it there before they all run out. YouTube, you can see the Gauntlet on the YouTube if I choose to upload it. It'll be on there. I will remember this week. And any other video content in the future. We're still, I've been talking about it for months. We got to start doing some other stuff here. We got to do our tour. We got to do, I was thinking about.
I told you, I'm going on Reno. It's almost done.
Oh, yeah, that's right. All right. So, pretty soon you'll see our comic book collections. 605-215-1849. That's the phone number you call. Leave a voicemail. Actually, if you're gonna write a long email, this is not a shot at Sam. We love Sam, the chemist. If you're gonna write a long email, send a voicemail because I'll play the whole thing. I just get tired of talking. I don't.
Yeah, it's like, that's bullshit. Half the time we can't get you to shut up.
I get tired of reading and trying to read.
The irony that we read comic books for a show. Stop saying dumb stuff out your butt.
That is irony. Good show, boys. A lot of good books this week. A lot of new stuff. I'm new too. People look at me and think that I look young. I have I do. I look like I'm 12.
Oh, I was thinking you look younger than 50, like a 40.
Every time somebody sees me, they think I'm a new series of the whole year too. They go, "Hey, you just get born this year?" Yeah, you're right. Under 1 year old. So this guy over here has the opposite problem. We'll talk about him in a couple of weeks. Best comic book series of 2018. That's Alex. He's a nice old age wine. They see him out there. They know he's the best of the best because he's been around for a while. Garrett, who knows? Garrett drinks a lot of water, so sometimes they can't tell where he ends and where that 90% of water in his body ends, or where he starts and where that water ends. So, Garrett,
Hydro-Man.
aren't you worried that if the planet freezes over, me and Alex will be okay and you'll be dead?
Why would I be?
Because you drink a lot of water.
Yeah,
I'm only 50% water. I keep it down. You go 98.
Yeah, but then you'll die of dehydration.
But you'll freeze solid,
What are you
apparently.
talking about? I'm still running.
You're going to run around?
See,
But you're going to be so dehydrated that you'll pass out and die
That's
before
something you don't understand. Just because I'm new, I'm a best new series of
Breast
the
new
year.
series.
Well, I could be that too. We talked about it earlier. Those wings. You don't understand because I'm a best new series, so people always think I'm under 1 year old, which sometimes I am. I am a different evolved human. I don't use water anymore. I just use glucose, and that turns into energy. And you with your water, you're gonna freeze. Glucose never freezes. So
Holy shit.
What if it's a gel with water?
what's up?
What if it's a gel?
What are you talking about?
Glucose gel.
All I know is, and Sam, you can correct me, glucose does not freeze if it's in the human body. Do research. That's all I'm asking of you to. Do your research. We're in an age today where you just talk out your ass. Let's not try it anymore. Research and verify.
Who told you that? Was like Ben Franklin in front of you in third grade or something?
What the hell does that mean?
You're old as fuck.
No, I'm best new series, baby. I am your young buck Marvin.
The old stallion Alex.
I'm the real young stallion Garrett.
No, Hydro Alex. I mean Hydro Garrett.
Hydro Garrett. Hey, everyone. Keep turning those pages.